Check. Yeah. Yo. Episode 13 of Morning MMA with Miller DC. I am your host, Miller DC, and I can't wait to get to UFC 292 is going to be the main topic of discussion. If we get to anything else, that'll just be a bonus, but this fight alone, even just the main event, I think we can talk about for a whole hour, that being Sean O'Malley versus Aljamain Sterling for the bantamweight title in the UFC. But without further ado, let me first say 267-545-8096. If you want to call in and share your predictions on who you have winning on this card, if you have any parlay picks, any upsets of the night, I have my upset of the night. We'll talk about that shortly. But plenty to talk about. Sean O'Malley versus Aljamain Sterling. A couple of other fights on the card. Ironically, Marlon Vera versus Pedro Munoz. Both fighters that have fought Sean O'Malley. One defeating him. The other, it went to a no contest. Neil Magny versus Ian Gary was supposed to be another Neil. It was supposed to be Jeff Neal. I thought he would have been a bigger threat. I'll give you guys my prediction on that as well too. Weili Zhang or Zhang Weili versus Amanda Lemos will be the co-main event. I believe we're also going to get other fights that are going to be announced on this. And then none other than Aljamain Sterling versus Sean O'Malley. So I can't wait. #1 commentary channel on YouTube and now the #1 MMA morning show. And we have 2 voicemails. So let's get to the first one, and then we'll get to the latter. Here we go. This is the first voicemail, guys. If you're tuning in, if you're watching this back, I'll make sure I put in timestamps so you can know when exactly we go over certain fights. Let me actually catch up with chat before getting right to the show. But Sean O'Malley versus Aljamain Sterling is a hot topic of discussion today. And it's not usual that we can cover who wins main event. It's not the usual that we can just stick to one topic, but I believe there's going to be a lot of that today. I'm just writing a poll. Aljamain Sterling by KO, Sean O'Malley by KO. I would love to see how you guys pick today. So I'm just writing a poll right now by decision. So go on and vote over here, and then we'll get right to the show. Let me just make sure I spelled everything right. There we go. Let's catch up with chat before playing the first voicemail. 267-545-8096. You can call in and let me know who you got winning tonight, Sean O'Malley or Aljamain Sterling. Torrin in the building. What's up, Torrin? Welcome to the stream. Hito, one of the first ones here. Eddie, the first one here. MTB Grizzly, the #1 show on YouTube for combat sports, even though the batteries died for the Bryce Hall fight. It be like that sometimes, man. Sometimes, you know, the stream is so hot that even the camera dies. Bro, the voicemail cut me off. Leave another one. Hito. Feel free to do so, and I'll make sure I play both. Saludo says Jesus M. Jesus in the building. Always showing love. What's up, brother? Welcome to the stream. Let's see who else we have here. Torrin in the building. I would love to hear who you have tonight. Merchant with the red glove says, I'm early tonight. Let's go. Let's go, Merchant. Let's have a good time covering these fights and giving our predictions. Aljo by submission says MTB Grizzly. Well, let's play the first voicemail and then we'll get right to it. Here we go. Voicemail #1.
Hello, Miller. Sorry for interrupting your 3-viewer podcast. I want to offer my congratulations. You made it to the month of August. Time moves fast now. You are to be given instructions. 08.19.
This guy thinks he's like, I don't know. You're gonna be given instructions. You're gonna have to do what I. Who is this person?
10.23. The people will hear the truth once.
8/19/23. That's the day of the fight, Sterling versus O'Malley. So, according to whoever this is, I'm gonna get exposed. Whoever this may be.
Again. After the main event, you will receive a phone call on your live stream. That call will be answered and your channel will be saved from the turmoil it's been in. See you soon, Miller. Very soon. 08.19.23. The people will hear the truth once again.
I'm sorry for wasting your guys' time on that one. We'll go to the next voicemail in a second. Aljamain by submission says, MTB, why do you feel so confident? Do you feel that Sean O'Malley is not going to be able to nullify the takedowns, that Sterling is going to be able to kind of marab his way to a win, to a submission? You don't think O'Malley is clever enough to get out of these positions and he's going to be on the bottom and it's going to be ground and pound? And if you say by submission, is it going to be early or is it going to be later in the fight, MTB? I think I seen they approved 2 new rules. Not sure. Someone else said that in the chat, I believe too. Not sure of all combat sports or just MMA, but it has to do with cuts and cutmen taking care of fouls. Another very important point that I want to talk to you about, since you brought up refs. It really depends who will be the ref for Sterling and O'Malley. For example, if it's Herzog, you saw how Herzog allowed, I believe it was Sandhagen and Font. I believe it was Herzog being the referee. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. But he allowed Sandhagen to stay on top and kind of, ground and pound his way to a decision. There's other referees like Herb Dean, maybe even Keith Smith, that want to stand you up quickly, right? That if you're not really doing much, let's say hypothetically Sterling is not doing much on top, maybe he stands them up and that benefits O'Malley. What mood is the referee going to be in? Because he plays a big factor, like Kenny Bayless does in the Floyd Mayweather fights. Now I got my point across, I feel like, says Hito. What in the AI says Merchant? Maybe Aljo is watching the stream all along, Sniper. You might make a point. Might be making a strong point. Let's get to maybe the first actual voicemail. This was left by a Jersey number. Here we go. I believe this is Hito 609. 267-545-8096. Would love to hear your call-ins on your predictions on Sterling versus O'Malley. We're gonna have a lengthy discussion. Got the coffee this morning. You guys can feel free to follow what the cup says. And here we go.
Hito 609. Yeah, want to talk about definitely Sterling and Aljo.
So Hito wants to get right to the point. Sterling versus Aljo, or Sterling versus. Did he say Sterling versus Aljo? Hold on. Let's play that back.
Hito 609. Yeah, want to talk about definitely Sterling and Aljo.
So obviously he hasn't had his morning cup of coffee. He's already saying Sterling is going to be fighting Aljo. So again, this is Hito for you. So not surprised.
I'm excited for the fight, but
I'm excited for Sterling versus Aljo too. Here we go.
You know me. I'm the man.
Not Sterling versus O'Malley, but anyway.
For the people, I speak for the streets. They call me Lil Durk of MMA, boxing. I'm the voice. But I'm not getting the hype. I'm not getting the hype around this fight coming up.
I don't know why you feel that way, because personally, and you've said this before, this is not your first time saying this. I remember you saying this about last week, that you don't feel the hype behind the fight. We will see the embeddeds. ESPN just released an interview with Sean O'Malley. Let's see if the hype is there when it's time and when it's the night of the fight. We'll see if the pay-per-view sales do well. We'll talk about that as well. But do you not feel the hype of the fight because of O'Malley, because of Sterling, both of them? Because it's a bantamweight main event? What exactly is it? But let's get right to it.
I know I was trolling before, it's like 200K pay-per-view buys.
Oh, and he mentions pay-per-view buys. Let's rewind that a bit.
I'm not getting the hype. I'm not getting the hype around this fight coming up. I know I was trolling before, it's like 200K pay-per-view buys. It'll probably do like 600K, 700K, but I don't know if they're promoting this card good enough. For some reason, we're a week out. You know, it's coming up this Saturday. And I'm not getting that excitement from people that you would other fights. And I think this is going to be a pretty good fight. I mean, this is for the belt. Let's see if Sugar's going to be the superstar he needs to be. This is to get that bum Aljo from ever coming into a UFC fight again, hopefully.
Why is he a bum? Is it because he's essentially boring as a fighter? Can we say Sandhagen is a bum because of his last performance, or do we say, well, at least Sandhagen has knocked people out like Frankie Edgar and put on good performances? Is he a bum because he's boring, or is he a bum because you just think his, again, also as well too, that people have been saying, Aljo is the luckiest man in the UFC to win the title by a legal knee, then to win a split decision against Petr Yan, who many felt Petr Yan won, then to beat Cejudo in a close fight. People aren't necessarily feeling Aljamain Sterling. So is he a bum actually? Is he the luckiest fighter in the world, or is he really that good? Mario Yamasaki should be the ref. Death or glory like a gladiator, says Merchant. I got to let him know, Snipey, I ain't the one, huh, Rogue? Bro, this guy has been coming after me in the Discord. I'm off this week. Already got the morning Heineken. Jesus, a morning Heineken is wild. I'm drinking LOL. I'm off. Aljo is different to want to watch. O'Malley is probably the only reason most people will watch, I guess, as Snipey. Well, I have a theory that it's going to be an uphill battle for for Aljamain Sterling, and I'll explain why. But nonetheless, here we go.
Retiring that man. Nobody wants to see him. He's boring. But
nobody wants to see him. He's boring, so maybe that's what he's alluding to.
Don't have the vibes, man. I don't know. It's kind of weird. Also,
you might have a point. We'll get back to it. Are you guys excited for this fight? Will be my question. But here we go.
I want to talk about I started looking into like the UFC pay-per-view buys. Started going back. I think I went back to like UFC 282. So from
Hito does his research. Ironically, he'll get the names wrong.
Like
but
where we're at now, the 282, and low-key, like, they're doing well. They're selling. I think the lowest one I found was 599K pay-per-view buys.
They cook. And I think a reason why is because unlike boxing, they'll at least give you a good co-main and a good few fights. A lot of times they'll put like a banger on the preliminary card as far as the last fight on the preliminary card before going into the main event that maybe helps people say, you know what, I want to buy this main event. You know, the casuals that are just probably watching on ESPN. At the end of the day, the UFC is a well-run business. And it doesn't surprise me if they're around that number for pay-per-view buys.
And I think the ones they do bad on, they don't post numbers. I think like the one with Moreno, when he was fighting, I couldn't find no numbers, so I'm assuming they didn't do that well.
Moreno versus Pantoja. Yeah, I can't imagine that one did as that well either.
But for the most part, they've been kind of killing it, and I'm starting to kind of agree with Jake Paul. I mean, he should give these guys at least $50K per fight. It's not breaking their bank.
They're
doing really, really well.
Be careful what you say, Hito, because when we start talking about UFC pay, that'll summon somehow. Beta's probably at work. He probably forgot the time of the stream, but you start talking about UFC pay, my man Beta will start educating people here. Chris Faith in the building. I see you out there. I'll get to your message and to your voicemail in a second. I believe you left a voicemail as well. Isaac Perez says, put me in the prelims. I mean, if we want to see a quick knockout, and by that I mean you being on the receiving end, maybe they should put you in there.
Every pay-per-view, so you have a dud here and there, but they're like minimum like 599K.
They're cooking. The UFC is a well-oiled machine.
Per pay-per-view, so I don't know. I think they should be making some more money.
Does Hito actually give the prediction on what happens on this fight too? Let's see, because I would love to hear his thoughts. If not, leave another one. Hito.
I think I need to like stop being too
exactly in what fashion?
Too cheap. And then last thing I have is Conor McGregor and saying his next 3 fights. So obviously he's saying that it's on with Chandler. It's interesting. Then he.
Thank you for setting that one up because I have the video for that. Thanks to you that you brought that up in the Discord. So shout out to you.
Saying he wants Justin Gaethje next for the BMF belt, and then I believe finally he wants to have the repeat for Nate Diaz. Nobody wants to see it. I don't want to see that. Honestly.
I don't want to see it either.
Yeah, this is a fight I don't want to see. It's kind of.
I don't know why, and it's not only you, or it's not you and I, but for some reason fans it almost seems like they want that. They want to see Diaz versus Conor again. I'm in the same boat as you. I don't care to see that fight. I don't care to even see Nate really in the UFC anymore because he's a shell of himself at the end of the day, right? If he can't really compete on, in the highest level, where he never really attained the title, but he was always competitive, and people always argued, oh, if it kept going, Diaz would win. I feel like he's kind of losing that.
Cringe, but that's what he wants to do. So, what do you think about that? Oh, and they introduced 2 new rules. One for eye pokes. You're allowed to get cold compression, 90 seconds or something like that, and the doctor can't flash a light in your eye immediately after you get eye poked, and then you get an X amount of time, and an accidental headbutt or something like that. If you get cut from an accidental strike, you actually get 5 minutes time, and the cut man is allowed to go in the ring and work on you.
Which is great. Oh, it did cut you off. Damn, so I hate to admit, Hito was actually cooking with the info today. I think that's all great news. Speaking of being able to get a cut man in there, if it's an accidental cut, the time allotted if there's an injury or an eye poke, and you're allowed a doctor or cold compression. It's all great news. They're trying to, I guess, improve the sport. What I would like to see, maybe they need the Travis or the Trevor Whitman gloves as well, because the gloves are it's easy to eye poke. So when you kind of poke, maybe there's something that can be done as far as the gloves as well too. That's been a conversation for a while. But great call, Hito. Shout out to you. And you mentioned Conor McGregor. Before we get back to UFC 292 and talk about that, we'll be playing the next voicemail in a bit. Chris Faith in the building says, "What's up, Miller DC? See, I left you. I just left you, well, not one, but 2 voicemails because the first one got cut off. No problem. The same thing happened to Hito. Maybe there's a way to extend the time of the voicemails. But thank you, Hito, for leading me to my next video before getting back to the voicemails. Let me catch up with chat real quick. Listen, DJ is a GOAT, but there's a reason why UFC let him go. Is it because just the lighter divisions don't sell well? He's doing okay at ONE FC. He's doing his thing. But is that what you're saying? That they're not really at the position they're in to give a ton of money to the DJs, to the Henry Cejudos when he was on top of the world, to these lighter divisions like Brandon Moreno, Pantoja, and those names. Is that the case? To what Hito alluded to, let's wait no further. This is Conor McGregor at the at the Anthony Joshua versus Helenius event. And here we go.
When are you coming back?
A lot of people were they were saying, maybe even allegedly claiming that Conor McGregor might be on something other than USADA banned substances. Maybe just American banned substances and things of that nature. But let's see what he had to say.
And who you're fighting?
Or global, for that matter.
You are going to do it. Coming back.
Did you see his face? And I don't mean to over speculate, but when Conor McGregor is asked, who do you have next? To me, I heard a level of disappointment. Chandler. You ever say, hey, what you doing today to a friend? And they're like, I got to go to work. And they kind of give you that kind of response where they sound like a little bit down, sarcastic. When he's asked about who he got next, Chandler.
Coming back. And who you're fighting? Chandler.
See, that's that grin of I don't really want to do that, but I'm forced to.
You are going to do it.
I have to.
Are you going to do it? I have to. In other words, again, to over speculate, I guess, because that's the boat we're in right now. He has to. I think it's safe to say by his body language response, he doesn't necessarily want to, in my opinion. We'll catch up with chat in a second. Here we go.
I've been teasing him.
I'm going to just do that with him, yeah? I'm going to grab him by the chest and grab him.
Conor looks like he's 195 right now, by the way, too. So what weight are they going to fight at? Are they going to fight at 170? Is he in the USADA pool and clear to go? It's supposed to happen on December 16th, I believe, is the date.
That's what I'm going to do.
Are we going to see you in another boxing match as well? The second richest fight in history when you fought Floyd Mayweather?
Yeah. That man KSI over there, he couldn't box it.
And we are in a world right now where he's asked about where we're going to see you next. He says Chandler.
He couldn't box.
And then he starts talking about KSI. I mean, I think YouTube boxing and all this stuff is great, but damn, a legend. Two division champion talking about KSI is a little depressing in my opinion.
If he walked in a egg boxing factory, yeah?
It's always great to see you.
Chandler next.
So it does seem like he wants to let the people know who he has next. He says Chandler next. You see the vein almost popping out of his neck.
December, and then Gaethje BMF.
And then Gaethje BMF, as if he knows he's gonna beat Chandler, but then again, with Chandler's decision making in the octagon, maybe he's right.
And then we'll do Nate Trilogy.
Brilliant. Cheers.
And then we'll do Nate Trilogy. I hate that. To kind of add on to what Hito said, I do not care at all for the Diaz matchup. If it doesn't happen, I'll be okay. I actually prefer it not to happen.
Thank you. Cheers.
And Conor McGregor in the stands of watching Anthony Joshua versus Robert Helenius. Are we going to see Conor McGregor? My question to you guys before we get to the next voicemail. Are we going to see Conor McGregor in the octagon before the year ends? Because when I asked that early in the year, people thought I was crazy. And they said, what do you mean? It is confirmed that he's fighting Chandler. It's going to happen. There's a little bit of more doubt nowadays. Now that we're approaching towards like the last quarter of the year. I'm not too sure whether we do see Conor fighting Chandler in December. And it's also going to be interesting to see, is USADA going to give him any breaks? Because it almost seems like they're going to extend or bend the rules in order to have him fight. Is what it seems like to me. Let's catch up with chat. Gotcha Girl says, top of the morning, Miller. Let's go. I'm hoping for a Sean KO, but prepared for an Aljo cuddling match. Listen, again, I'm going to save my prediction and how I feel exactly is going to play out, but I wouldn't be surprised is what I will say if that's what it becomes. If it becomes an Aljo hugging the legs of Sean O'Malley, trying to get on top mount, and they're kind of like, they're going from half guard to full guard, from Sean O'Malley posting on an arm, trying to get back up to his feet, shoulder against the cage. Maybe he grabs the fence a few times like he did against Petr Yan, and the referee allows him to get away with it. I wouldn't be surprised if it's an Aljo cuddling match, as you said, 303. But I can also see a Sean KO in the works. Sean KO second round, says Hito. Didn't that beard guy used to fight?
You need people like me. You need people like me so you can point your fingers and say, that's the bad guy.
You talking about people's favorite fighter like that, Sniper. You got to be careful. They're going to be calling you the bad guy out here. Yeah, Conor knows he has to prove himself. That's why he's saying he has to. If Conor beats Chandler, I would like to see him fight Justin Gaethje. I would like to see Justin Gaethje get the title shot against Islam Makhachev. And if there's a way that they could meet after that, that'll be nice. If Gaethje fights Conor after Conor fights Chandler, then who do you give next for Makhachev if he beats Oliveira? And I know that was a lot of names out there, but geez. The lightweight division needs some help. And that's why I want Gaethje to rather fight for the belt instead of a Dustin Poirier again. Beneil just lost his last fight. Saryukian and Gamrot not only do I not feel like they're not quite ready, their names aren't to the star power that they need to be to headline a main event. So I feel like it's crazy because I've criticized Gaethje before, but I feel like we need Gaethje at this point in the UFC to fight for the title. KSI ? Crying face says Merchant. It's unbelievable. I mean, Conor has a chance to beat Chandler, says Torrin Brown, but I think Gaethje gives him problems. I think Gaethje beats Conor at this point in his career. And again, I thought Gaethje was one of the most, not illogical, but I thought he was like Chandler as far as making the worst decisions in the octagon. But now you see him against Fiziev, even though that was a close fight. But then against Poirier, he looked poised. He looked patient. I've changed my mind on Gaethje. I'll be quite honest. I wasn't the biggest fan. Now I want to see him fight the tougher fights and essentially fight for the title and even give him a shot if he does see himself fighting for the true belt, the lightweight title. Conor isn't fighting again. Stop, says Snipey. Listen. Some people take that personally, Snipey, but you might be right. Conor is like 1-3 in 5 years or something. What was his last win, Snipey? Donald Cerrone? He has only been training cocaine, not MMA. I don't see the point of Gaethje fighting Islam because we all pretty much know what the outcome will be. Islam will beat him fairly easily. The new and improved Gaethje, I'm not, and I can't believe I'm saying this again, Torn, but the new and improved Gaethje, I'm not quite sure. Let's get to the next voicemail. Feel free, 267-545-8096. Share your predictions on who you believe is going to win between Sean O'Malley and Aljamain Sterling. Let's get to the next voicemail.
What's up, Miller, this season?
This is the homie, Chris Faith. You know what? And I don't mean to sound like a school teacher right now, but for those guys that call, I like that you guys say your name. Maybe say your name and where you're from. It just makes it sound cool. We know where you're from and we know who we're hearing from. So this is Chris Faith from, I'm not exactly sure where. Here we go.
Chris Faith talking.
And he's met Gaethje before in person.
Sorry I didn't respond back to last week because I was completely busy.
You're all good, bro. Thank you for always supporting the channel. Here we go.
Anyways, just want to leave you a voicemail about this upcoming Saturday. Actually, before I start this past Saturday, let's talk about what happened this past Saturday night.
Oh.
And I'm not talking about Joshua versus whatever that guy's name is, Robert Allen.
I don't even blame you for not knowing.
So, that one fight that interested me was Khalil Roundtree Jr., where he knocked the crap out of Chris Dawkins. I wanted him.
And we've seen Chris Dawkins get cooked before.
To knock him out. And plus, I think Chris Dawkins' career in the UFC is done because
I agree.
Recently, like his brother, they kicked out his brother, and he no longer works with the UFC. And now Chris Dawkins, Chris Dawkins needs.
And that's his 4th loss in a row, by the way, Chris.
To go. Congrats to Vicente Luque on his win. Been a year since he last competed from that.
And with the whole brain bleeding or brain clot that Vicente Luque had, I was a little worried for him. You saw a couple people bring that up as well, too, but he does get the win.
Devastating knockout by Jeff Neal. Okay, now let's get back to the story. For UFC 2.
Here we go.
9. So, the only fights that got me interested is
let's hear the honesty.
Event and the main event.
Oh, we have to talk about that as well, too. Zhang Weili versus Lemos.
So, my suggestion, I know Weili...
Hit the thumbs up, guys. Helps the channel as well, too.
Zhang Weili versus Amanda Lemos is going down. And also, let me say this. I'm rooting for Zhang Weili. But on the other hand, I might see an upset. Amanda Lemos, I'm not going to lie. Amanda Lemos, I know she's dangerous, but the thing is, we all know what happened last year between her and Jessica Andrade. I don't know why the UFC calls her Andrade. No, it's Jessica Andrade, not Andra. So she got knocked out. Oh, speaking of Jessica Andrade, I'll never forget 2 weeks ago she was defeated by Tatiana Suarez. I don't know if you noticed, but her and Tatiana Suarez, they were supposed to fight.
And Suarez might be the future. That's a topic for another day.
4 years ago for the strawweight champion. This is when she became strawweight champion at the time. But Tatiana was #1 contender, and she didn't turn it down. The thing is, it was no longer she was no longer #1 contender because of a serious neck injury, which cost her years of being absent until last year she returned, or this year, something like that. So
I might have made a little jokey joke. I'm gonna play the next voicemail right now because I know it cut you off. Beta, I might have made a little jokey joke bringing you up earlier today. Let me catch up with chat before going to the rest of the second part of that voicemail. As a fan of Conor from when he first went on that magical run, his fall from grace has been hard to watch. Gotcha, girl. That is a very accurate way of describing it. It's been weird, right? When I know it was a long time ago, but when he beat Jose Aldo in the fashion in which he did, and then it almost seemed like to me when he lost to Nate, it was downhill from there, and he lost to Khabib as well too, but it just seems like such a dominant fighter. I don't know what he has to offer. So the man just isn't the same. Like you said, it's just, he was one of the most dangerous strikers, but it almost seems like the sport has progressed and has left him behind. And is that his fault? In a sense, did the fame get to him? Maybe that has something to do with it, but I think it has more to do with the evolution of the sport, where if you're not a good wrestler or good enough, like now you have to be so well-rounded. Conor McGregor, if you're just striking with him at that time, was ahead of everyone. You saw what he did to Poirier and various opponents and the power he had behind his hands, but it almost seemed like he couldn't really figure out the grappling and wrestling aspect. You saw how he lost to Diaz and Khabib. It does seem like a fall from grace, where what if he stayed in Dagestan for like 3 months, or just had a better wrestling coach and Dylan Dennis wasn't his grappling coach, right? Where he's in the news for other reasons as well too, but it is a fall from grace that's tough to watch, because at the end of the day, he's good for the sport, I would say. Let's catch up with the rest. Torn Brown says, I think Justin beats Conor. I agree as well too, Torn. So especially this new and improved version. Gaethje's a different animal. I have criticized him before. I love the stories where a fighter forces you to become a fan. You know what I mean? Where Oliveira, in a sense, Charles Oliveira, when he was labeled as a quitter, and we're like, he's not going to beat Poirier. He beats Poirier. He's not going to beat Gaethje. He beats Gaethje. He's not going to beat Chandler. He beats Chandler. He almost forces you to be like, you know what? I doubted this guy enough. I was wrong. It's one of those kind of things. Like, those are my favorite stories in MMA. And with Gaethje, that's what it feels like. Like, he's just he's new and improved, and now you can't really write him off like you used to. New and improved version. Now the Gaethje who fought Michael Johnson and Eddie Alvarez, Conor would have easily beat him. Agreed. I think Aljo tries to kick the legs of Sean. When it comes to kicks, and again, with my pick, I feel strongly about my pick, but I am worried, because what if Sean O'Malley tries to land kicks and and Sterling just times them and is able to catch a leg, and Sean O'Malley really can't use that, because whenever he tries to do so, Sterling turns it into a single leg, a double leg, or a grappling exchange. It's a tough fight for both fighters. What's up, Plugs? Welcome to the stream, my guy. Now, I know Charles beat Justin Gaethje last year, but if they were to rematch, I think Justin has very good point as well too, says Torn Brown. Justin has a chance, considering how Oliveira leaves his chin in the air. This new and improved Gaethje, I think, fares well against almost anyone, if not everyone, in the lightweight division. Dawkins needs to retire, says Torn. Agreed. Went back and watched Aljo's last 2 fights and Sean's fight against Jan, and I'm kind of torn on picking a winner, says Boracho. Boracho, welcome to the stream with the gold glove and the belt. You can become a member today. It helps the channel out immensely. Consider doing so. Boracho, gun to your head. Would love to hear your thoughts. Please let me know on who you got winning if you had to pick. Torrance says Justin has more of a chance against Charles than he does Islam, in my opinion. I agree. Islam, just his style is going to be tough for anyone to beat. Only 30 minutes late this time, says Beta Quest. Welcome to the stream, my guy, Beta Quest. Man, I see Aljo just holding O'Malley down, says Snipey. Probably be a boring fight. I hope Aljo wins, just because it will piss off Dana. Listen, if Aljamain Sterling finds himself in the 3rd round, right, of a scheduled 5, right, kind of like Corey Sandhagen versus Font, where Dana was out of there by the 4th round. Now, he is a busy man. Maybe he had things to do, or maybe he just knew how, he just saw the writing on the wall. Let's say Sterling finds himself on top of Sean O'Malley in the 4th round, and we could kind of see how the fight is going to go. Will we be surprised if we see Dana kind of exiting the arena? I'm just throwing that out there. Will he be disappointed? And the other topic as well too is Aljamain Sterling leaving the division, but we'll get to that in a second. Hito in the building. Comrade Beta. People love Beta, man. I don't really know why. What's going on, Torrin? Conor morphed into Dylan Dennis. It's his final form, says Snipey. Maybe that was a problem all along, Beta, or Snipey. Maybe that was his mistake. If he would have had a different coach, maybe we would be talking about Conor differently in today's world. I think if Sean doesn't get Aljo out within 3 rounds, then he loses. Listen, I will say, Plugs, the longer the fight goes, the more dangerous it is for Sean O'Malley. That's why I believe Sean O'Malley will win by KO, but we'll get to that in a little bit. I'd rather see Justin Gaethje versus Charles Oliveira 2 than Justin versus Islam. The problem is that's only going to happen if Oliveira gets past Islam. And does Oliveira have a chance, depending how you see how their first fight went? Islam won, but Oliveira said he wasn't himself, just like Cheeto Vera says he wasn't himself against Sandhagen, just like all fighters do when they lose by a wide margin. Take a piss test, then fight Chandler, or Justin Gaethje, says Chris Faith. That's why I'm hoping Charles can pull it off against Islam, because the AKA Whiskey Bump. I remember you calling the last time, Chris Faith, and it was hilarious. I don't think Aljo just lays on Sean all 5 rounds. I think Aljo would stand with him for a little, then use the wrestling. What if Aljo has success in the striking department? That'll be surprising, but I wouldn't really leave that out of chance. What's the chances Dana doesn't put the belt on Aljo if it turns into a hug fest? I'm going to go with 30% chance. I still think he'll be in there, but we'll see. What are the chances that Dana puts a belt on Sean O'Malley if O'Malley wins? I would say that's 100%. Let's get to the next voicemail. 267-545-8096. You can call in and share your predictions on O'Malley versus Sterling. Let's get right to it.
Sorry, let me get back to something happened with the phone. It got cut off, which was weird. So back to Lemos versus Zhang Weili. If Lemos wins, not only
all this Islam slander needs to stop. Maybe we're just saying he's that good that he's not going to be beaten. And that's what kind of makes the division stagnant. But they said the same thing about Usman until he got head kicked. But anyways.
She becomes the 4th Brazilian UFC fighter to win a UFC champion since Nunes, Cyborg, and Andrade. But she'll become the 20th. Get this. And everybody should understand this in case everyone had been doing their MMA homework for the past 2 years. She'll become the 20th Brazilian fighter to win the UFC champion. No lie. Has anyone count? Let me ask you something, Mel, you're seeing to everyone, including guys like Chito, in case he could hear me. I haven't spoke to that idiot for like months. Since like YouTube, because he want to be all chit chatting shit. So like, trust me, like, if Amanda Lemos wins, then that's history. But I'm not gonna doubt Zhang Weili.
I have strong feelings about Zhang Weili, but I'll let you finish your point first.
Doubt Zhang Weili. And also like Aljamain Sterling versus.
Ooh, let's get right to it. Let's get right to it.
I'm gonna watch that fight. I wish I could watch it. Actually, I was supposed to plan to go to Boston as of this month to watch that fight, but
my man goes to the live events. Legend.
Honestly, I was delayed for many things, and I'm still delayed for many things. So honestly, I got Sterling either by 3rd or 4th round TKO, but
Sterling by 3rd or 4th round TKO, says Chris Faith. We need a 999 calling to see what he got, because he's been hot with his picks.
I don't mind if Sean O'Malley wins. I'm not gonna lie. I took a picture of Sean O'Malley.
Hito says we got beef. Yeah, I'm trying to remember what exactly happened, but let's go. A little beef in the chat never hurt anyone.
This past May, this was.
But a 3rd or 4th round TKO, interesting.
Was at the event of UFC 288. I still have pictures of him. Me and my brother, we went to go take pictures of him. But honestly, look, to me, it doesn't matter who wins. Maybe Sean O'Malley wins, you know. He might get a knockout, 2nd or 3rd round TKO. That's my opinion.
He has been saying he's going to win by knockout.
Honestly, to be honest with you, I don't care who wins.
Kind of sounds like Hito, where maybe people don't care who wins.
But let's see who becomes, or should I say, let's see who walks out with the Bantamweight Championship around their waist. Let us all find out this Saturday. Peace out.
And that's the call from none other than Chris Faith, where there might be some beef brewing in the chat. I want to touch on what he said about Amanda Lemos and Zhang Weili in a second, but let's catch up with chat. I don't even remember. Man, Aljo is a big dude. He'll be 165 on fight day. Sean O'Malley is pretty tall. Maybe not a big dude as well too, but does his height, his reach, which I think he only has like a reach advantage of like 1 inch, even though he's significantly taller. Tale of the tape. O'Malley versus Sterling. I believe the UFC puts this up already. Let's see. Height 5'7", 5'11", so 4 inches taller, but the reach is only 1 inch. So there you have it. It's right here. And as far as the stances, the switch stance, does that trouble Aljamain Sterling? He is younger by about 5 years. Is that beneficial for O'Malley as well too? I'm going to get to my prediction in 1 second, right after I read the rest of these messages. But 267-545-8096 if you want to share your predictions on who wins between O'Malley and Sterling. He called me a little Merchant says you caught a stray. I just didn't know I was living rent-free for that long. It's been a while. Ajax says, I have work at 8 a.m. the next day after the fight. That's horrible. Where are you located, Ajax? I'm assuming you're somewhere in the UK or overseas. Corey and Sean are the same height. And you saw what Sterling did to Corey Sandhagen. Granted, that was a long time ago. Whole different version that we have of Corey, and a way more improved fighter that we have in Sean O'Malley compared to what he was back then. Okay, guys. First, again, if someone leaves a voicemail, I will make sure I play. First, let me talk about Zhang Weili and Lemos. Zhang Weili's last fight was against Carla Esparza. And listen, I know we could be prisoners of the moment. I know there could be a little bit of recency bias, but what I saw against Carla Esparza, where Zhang Weili beat her in the striking department, in the wrestling department, in all facets of the fight, Zhang Weili was ahead. And not only that, to me, I saw a massive improvement in Zhang Weili's previous fight as compared to her previous fight against Joanna Jędrzejczyk, where she looked good, she looked strong, she won by knockout in the second round. But against Esparza, it just seemed like to me she looked the most comfortable she's ever looked. And also to me, I believe Zhang Weili is the best female fighter in the world right now. I have her beating Amanda Lemos. Now, Amanda Lemos, again, she has had some good wins, but the level of opponents, again, Karate Hottie, Marina Rodriguez, even against Angela Hill, she struggled a little bit and it went to a split decision. I believe that Zhang Weili is in a different level, or on a different level, in a different world, well ahead. I believe Zhang Weili gets the job done. Now let's talk about Sean O'Malley, Aljamain Sterling, right after I catch up with chat. I'll be nice because the stuff I already saw, I could have a field day with him, says Heath0609. Oh man. I wish I could catch it. Snipey, check your Discord. Some beef is brewing. Nonetheless, Aljamain Sterling, Sean O'Malley. Maybe let's go to Tapology and get right to it. Sterling 23-3, Sean O'Malley 16-1. Now that one on his record, if you talk to people like plugs, right? You speak to the plugs of the chat and maybe other big fans. They're gonna tell you that one on his record, and of course it's not the grappling one, but that one L on his record was against Marlon Vera, but it was a fluke win for Vera. A horrific accident, so to speak, where Vera got it done, but it was an injury. It wasn't because Vera landed leg kicks, according to them. It wasn't because Vera was going to win that fight regardless. It was lucky, and Vera got the win. But some people say he's 17-0, speaking of Sean O'Malley. He also fights Pedro Munoz after getting a couple wins against relatively no names like Almeida, known, but Chris Moutinho wasn't known. Paiva, I remember him fighting Kyler Phillips, but not necessarily known as well either. Pedro Munoz, the eye poke in round 2. We'd never see that fight again, even though Munoz is fighting Vera for whatever that's worth. He fights Piotr Jan, speaking of Sean O'Malley. And we can also talk about how O'Malley looked against Piotr Jan as compared to Sterling. 267-545-8096 if you want to share your predictions. We'll play live on stream. Then we talk about Sean O'Malley beating Petr Yan, in my humble opinion, I thought Petr Yan won that 2 rounds to 1. You add on to that, and this is not any conspiracy theory. You add on to that, Sean O'Malley cheated in that fight. Grabbing the fence, grabbing the gloves, pushing off the fence after grabbing the fence in order to get back up to his feet. He did hurt Petr Yan. He did make Petr Yan become a wrestler. And Petr Yan is known as being one of the best boxers, up there with Rafa and Sandhagen, and Dominic Cruz as one of the best boxers in Max Holloway in the UFC. But the range, him being taller than Yan, the range, the power, you can't deny from Sean O'Malley. He effectively made Petr Yan switch his game plan. So I do believe we got to give credit to Sean O'Malley in doing so. The problem is Aljamain Sterling is a grappler by nature, not like Petr Yan, who kind of switched up his game plan in the midst of a fight. Aljamain Sterling, that's what he does. You look at his record, 23-3. Remember what he did to Corey Sandhagen, Corey Sandhagen has looked great in the octagon, but that win has aged well because he just ran through him. He wins by illegal knee to become champion, maybe arguably the luckiest man that has ever entered the octagon. Then he wins a split decision. He also beats Dillashaw, but Dillashaw had a shoulder injury. And against Cejudo, it was a close fight against a very small bantamweight. Sean O'Malley presents different obstacles. There are those that say that Sean O'Malley is the best bantamweight of all time. There are those that say he's the luckiest fighter of all time and not really a true champion. So we get to UFC 292 this weekend. I believe, and here we go, Saturday, August 19, when Bruce Buffer announces who's the winner, instead of saying "and still," I do believe he will be saying "and new."
I don't mean no disrespect on Henry, but that.
I do believe Sean O'Malley will be "and new" bantamweight champion of the world. This might age badly, but I think he presents a lot of obstacles, and maybe he has a machine behind him that will help him get that victory as well too.
You need people like me. You need people like me so you can point your fingers and say that's the.
If it's a close fight, will they give him the nod? I believe so. If it's Sean O'Malley won round 1-3-5 or 1-3 and the 5th was debatable and it's close, who do you think the judges are going to go with? If it's the fight does start striking, who do you think is going to land a bigger shot first? If I had to gamble on who's going to land the bigger striking shot first, I'm going to say it's Sean O'Malley. The $1 million question, in my opinion, is whether Sean O'Malley will be able to nullify the takedowns. But you got to remember, Sterling, he's older. It seems like he has complained about the weight as if it's getting tougher for him to make 135. What if his body just doesn't do quite well going down to 135 this time? And he's a shell of himself, kind of like he was against the first fight against Petr Yan. His striking is a little bit unorthodox and he's weird, hands low, but that's a dangerous game to play against Sean O'Malley. And again, if it's close, they probably give it to O'Malley. And let me look at the votes here. You guys, after 14 votes, 29% Sterling by KO. Sterling by decision, 29% as well too. So 58 for Sterling, 42 for Sean O'Malley. Let's catch up with chat before we finish these last and final points and why I'll be proven right. Plugs, yeah, with the judges' help, he'll win, says Merchant. 17-0 and will be 18-0 this weekend. So Merchant feels probably strongly that Sterling gets the job done. Rogue Hito, amazing. Geez, says Snipey. That's probably because he recognized that height difference, though. The disparity to get in and out for Aljo is nowhere near as bad for him as it was for Yan, says Beta Quest. Beta makes some good points here and there, I'll admit. Touch belt with the lamp in the park, says Snipey. Hito says LOL. I see your profile picture, Hito.
Yeah, shout out to season.
Main event time. We look at my bookie. They have it at minus 274 Sterling, a plus 202 for O'Malley. And look at the props that we have here. Aljamain by KO is a plus 600. Sterling by submission is a plus 190, which I thought that was pretty that wasn't too bad. Plus 190 for submission by Sterling. That's not a bad bet to make if you have Sterling winning. O'Malley by KO is a plus 330. I could not help myself. And I made a little bet on that. O'Malley by decision is a plus 670. That's pretty fair. If it goes, that might be another good one to take. I'm going to say we're going to be surprised this Saturday on how it goes, because I believe O'Malley will get a knockout in about the third round. But again, if it's close, I wouldn't be surprised if they give it to O'Malley as well too. I think Sean O'Malley presents enough problems for Aljamain. Maybe Sterling gets it to the ground once, twice. I'm gonna say Sterling takes it to the ground after a 5-round fight. If it does go the distance, I'm gonna say Sterling is able to take him down 4 times. I don't know if this is blind faith. I don't know if this is more the heart speaking than the mind. If Aljamain Sterling takes it to the ground, I do believe that he's going to have trouble keeping him there, and I don't think he's going to be that effective. Why that is, I just feel like with Sean O'Malley and his team, you know, Tim being a grappler and his coach, I think they're going to game plan enough to stay somewhat safe, even if he does get taken down. Yeah, we might see halfway through the first round, Sterling takes O'Malley to the ground and he rides out the rest of the round. One thing that also concerns me as well too is that O'Malley has never been a full 5 rounds. He looked a little bit winded against Jan. We'll see how he looks against Sterling. He hasn't been a full 5 rounds. Sterling isn't Marab though. Yeah, he'll spam takedowns and he'll be annoying about it, but I don't see him doing so for a full 5 rounds. Come say what's up real quick. My nephew looks like he's gonna go to a Trump rally right now. Hold on. Say what's up. Oh, you gotta talk to the mic because it's check. There you go.
Hey, what's up, guys? Aljamain Sterling by submission. I'm taking those odds, that's for sure. I'm dropping 50.
You want to make a bet with your uncle right now?
Yeah.
I got a
money line. Or you want?
Money line. Just a little 15.
That's good odds for you.
That's good odds for you.
That's good odds for me.
That's what I'm saying.
Take that.
It's a crime to be taking the nephew's money.
It's a little free Chick-fil-A thing you got. I'm glad.
Damn, he says he's gonna steal my money. You. Oh, the car's ready. Yeah. All right, I'll take. Yeah. Are you going golfing? Cause this guy is obsessed with some golfing. Bet. I'll be done not too long from now. Let me see. I'll be done. Yeah, not too long from now. All right. My man loves golfing, as you can see. You see the shorts and the shirt. He looks like he's gonna go see Trump right now. He actually saw Trump yesterday, which is funny because at a golf tournament. Let's catch up chat. Bruce Buffer for the winner by TKO, a new undisputed UFC bantamweight champion of the world. Sugar Sean O'Malley says plugs. I like it. Sean a +2. Is that what he was? Is that what he was? Yes, a +2,000 for submission. We know the mind ain't working, so it's definitely all heart, says Beta. Is it foolish to say that Sean O'Malley's not going to be able to get back up to his feet? Because, listen, for those that make the argument, and it's not a bad one, for those that say, if this is the MMA math that some fans do, and it's justified, it's understandable. If Sean O'Malley struggled against Petr Yan to get up, which he always did, right? But if he struggled to stop the takedown from Yan, imagine what Aljamain Sterling will do to him. That is an argument. Although I don't agree, it's understandable. It's understandable. I can see Sterling doing that, but maybe it's this right here. I don't know. And not necessarily this. Maybe it's this right here that I just have a funny feeling O'Malley's going to come prepared to at least... And again, my argument is nuanced. This fight could go a variety of ways. I can see Sean O'Malley nullifying the takedowns, but because he's worried about it, I can see Sterling having success striking as well too.
You need people like me. You need people like me so you can point.
How Latin, you didn't say how long it would hit that man with a what? With a kid knows his stuff, says Snipey. I mean, I wouldn't say that, but I see that you guys have Sterling. And it's understandable, guys. We're almost 20 thumbs up, the most for Monday morning podcast. This has been a lot of fun as well, too. Listen, we're getting better and better carrying a show by ourselves with the call-ins, and it's a lot of fun. 267-545-8096 if anybody else wants to call in before we get out of here. But these are the odds. Well, if I go the distance is a plus 116, I wouldn't necessarily gamble on whether it will go the distance or not. A minus 142, not the worst. But straight money line isn't the worst. My picks, I went a little heavy on the bets, and it's only because I came up like 300 with the Derek Lewis thing. So I might be losing some money this weekend, but I don't. We'll do these for the Monday morning podcast. These are my bets. Had a little bit of money after, the sponsor, but my parlay pick, Sean O'Malley, which is weird. Let me actually start from the bottom up. Zhang Weili, fair one. Ian Gary, I'm a little bit worried about, even though he's a minus 416. Neil Magny is experienced enough. You never know. But I'm going for my 4-fight parlay. I don't know why I put so much money on it. To me, that's a lot of money. For my 4-fight parlay, I'm going Zhang Weili, Ian Gary, Marlon Chito Vera. And the one that might ruin it for me is a main event itself, Sean O'Malley. But it's a good payout, and I couldn't help it. That's my 4-fight parlay. As far as straight bet, winning method, Sean O'Malley by KO, 33. It's a nice little bet as well, too. And then for by KO is a plus 330. So let's just say I'm a little bit emotionally and pocket invested on this fight. I feel, if you guys didn't believe me before that I feel Sean O'Malley, I feel strongly that he's gonna win. I put my money where my mouth is. Steve Williams in the building. What's good, Steve Williams? Thank you for always coming through the stream and always showing love. Guys, this has been a very successful, very positive Monday morning podcast. The best viewership that we've gotten. And we're doing this every Monday, so we're going to get better and better. Bare knuckle fighting we covered last week as well, too. So we're doing a couple different things. It has been a lot of fun. Okay, final prediction. I have Sean O'Malley, 3rd round knockout. I think Sean O'Malley, this is how I see it playing out. First round, then filling each other out about 2 minutes and 30 seconds in. Remember I said this because I hit the nail on the head sometimes. About 2 minutes and 30 seconds in, something like that, give or take. Sterling wraps around the legs, chain wrestles a little bit, takes Sean O'Malley down. And the first thing you're going to hear, and tell me this doesn't, I'm the worst at doing impressions, but tell me this doesn't sound like something Daniel Cormier would say. The second place DC. Sterling takes Sean O'Malley down. Cormier goes. And this is what we were wondering, guys. If Sean O'Malley gets taken down, is he going to be able to fight his way back up? We're about to find out. And Rogan says, yeah. Or he goes, oh, he just the random sound. And then Anik will give you the random stat. Sterling has taken down the last 8 of his 9 opponents. But Corey May is definitely going to say something along those lines. We were wondering if Sean O'Malley was going to do okay once he gets taken down. And we find ourselves there. But what I will say is we are going to find out. Sean O'Malley takes him down in like the second half of that first round. And O'Malley is not going to take that much punishment. The clock stops after the first round ends. Referee stands him up. They go back to the neutral corners. Round number 2 comes. Sterling goes for takedowns yet again. Sean O'Malley is a little bit more aware, comfortable in there. Sprawls, defends. Maybe he's clinching up against the cage and his back is against the cage. But I think he's going to be doing a better job of fighting the takedowns. Come round 3, and I think he's going to touch Sterling in the second round. Come round 3, I think he's going to find an opening for that left straight down the middle. Maybe even a head kick. I know they're not in Salt Lake City, so that hurts my odds a little bit. I think Sean O'Malley in the third round lands a bomb. Sterling might be a little bit chinny because the weight cut has been getting to him. Third round knockout for Sugar Sean O'Malley.
You need people like me. You need people like me so you can point your fingers and say, that's the bad guy.
It's going to happen, guys. I feel it. Steve Williams in the building. Let's go. Death by Backpack says Beta Quest. You could be correct in your assessment, Beta, and it scares me. I almost feel like I need a remember Who Wants to Be a Millionaire when you would call a friend? If I could call anybody right now, I would call 999 and see what he has to say. I think that would make me feel either more confident or worried on who I have to win. Death by Backpack. The GOAT Steve in the building. Loved by many in the chat. When the fight ends, I guarantee you Trey will be the first to call if Sean O'Malley wins. If Sterling wins, I'm pretty sure he stays in the cave that he's been in. Win or lose plugs, we're gonna have to hear him max out. Sean O'Malley split decision. They do few stand-ups in the few first rounds. Wow, so Merchant has it. Sterling starts wrestling in the later rounds. This is going to be a lackluster match. I know it. You know what? You know what, Merchant? You know what, Merchant? I have it by knockout. So again, just because you make a bet on something, it could be a safe bet, although you have something else happening. For a plus 670, O'Malley by decision, because that's what people don't see coming. A lifeline. I couldn't remember the word, Steve. Thank you, bro. Remember that show, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? That was huge when I was growing up. A $15 bet for O'Malley by decision pockets you $100. Pull the trigger or hold off, guys. You guys let me know. Or maybe make it a little less and make it 10. You guys let me know. But I'm a little bit what's it called? Tempted to do so. First hamster fam died in the category 4 yeast infection of 2022. That's how I got here. To pull the trigger or not to pull the trigger, I feel like I can't help it. Trey has been MIA. Well, Steve, just to play this for you real quick, we can assume this is him. All right, I'm gonna let the cat out the bag. Trey messed up real quick before we get out of here. This is for the members and the people that have been locked in. I wasn't gonna say anything. This is a voicemail that was left.
Hello, Miller. Sorry for interrupting your 3-viewer podcast.
I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna tell you why he messed up.
I want to offer my congratulations. You made it to the month of August. 10 moves fast now. You are.
And I'm sure he's listening right now. I know he watches the channel, but anyways.
Given instructions. 08.19.23. The people will hear the truth once again.
So August 19th, when his favorite fighter fights, Sean O'Malley.
After the main event, you will receive a phone call on your live stream. That call will be answered and your channel will be saved from the turmoil it's been in. See you soon, Miller. Very soon. 08.
And Trey uses weird words like turmoil, right? Because that's about the furthest his vocabulary goes, about 2 to 3 syllables max.
0.19.23. The people will hear the truth once again.
Let me tell you real quick before I get out of here how much of an idiot this guy is. You heard that voicemail, right? I wish I could show you guys, but it'll be doxing people. Trolling on voicemail. So here we go, Steve. Listen. This is where it gets interesting. Every time I've gotten a voicemail like that, the number has been blocked. And I don't want to dox anyone else, so I won't show. This time he must have. And before this, he left a voicemail.
Hey, bro.
Right? And that was an unknown call. But a 70 this time, for once, finally, that sound, the robot sounding voice, they didn't block their number. Guess what the area code was? The area code was 704. So I thought to myself, this person messed up. Where the hell is 704? Because I didn't recognize it, right? And I know he's watching right now. Look where the area code is from. Charlotte. Charlotte what? North Carolina. Who's from North Carolina? The idiot, the one and only, Trey Melton. I mean, how dumb can you be, right? Trying to troll the channel and forget to block your number. You call from a number that shows the area code, not even from like a friend's number or like, you know, a burner cell phone or something. Who else do we know from North Carolina? It's him. I'm convinced. He's an idiot. Yeah, what happened to Farquhartez Merchant? I mean, what an idiot. Anyways, guys, we have been live for an hour. Thank you for those that left a voicemail. If I will just encourage you guys, whenever we do these Monday morning things, if you guys could leave a voicemail, it helps out immensely, like how Chris did and Hito did. It makes for a very fun show, so I appreciate you guys. We had a lot of fun talking about Conor, talking about Aljamain Sterling versus Sean O'Malley. We almost did a whole hour on just that one fight, so that was a lot of fun. He's trying to have a grand entrance. He ruined it for himself, Merchant. He's predictable. It's Trey. I mean, what do we expect? I'm surprised he knew how to block his number from the first place. My boy is the best dumb. Yeehaw. Not the sharpest tool in the shed. Whole team of investigators in the chat. Trey's cover is blown. Well, to have a little more fun, where is my Discord real quick? Just to have a little more fun if you guys haven't been keeping up. I mean, let's ignore all those pictures. I hope we don't look at this.
It's been a long day, but I'm hanging in there, okay?
What a weirdo. This guy thought he was Johnny Depp out here. This shows us why we know he knows nothing about family. Look at that right hand thrown by him. Who punches like that and has a good opinion in fighting?
I'll allow it.
In fight sports. Look at that stance, horrible. Leaning in, chin up in the air. Gets punched in the gut. Bad acting, by the way, too. I can't even explain that. I don't even want to know what's going on there. And then we don't have to talk about my face because I look Amish there. But anyways, the member for 11 months, Hito 609 with the gold glove. Y'all better not try me no more. I'm going to only be nice one time. I have tried calling. I have tried sending emails. He's a fraud. He's a fraud. Number one commentary chat. Good night, guys. It's 1 a.m. Merchant, appreciate you rocking out with us this long. Thank you, Hito, for becoming a member for 11 months, man. You guys are helping the channel stay afloat and just become the number one morning podcast show. This Saturday for UFC 292, we'll be live. Thank you guys. Hit the thumbs up. Share the video and all that. Be here this weekend for UFC 292. Let's blow it up. Thank you guys for the ongoing support. Sean O'Malley, third round knockout. You heard it here first. Peace. Appreciate the 10, Steve. Thank you, man. That makes me even further. Wait, real quick. Didn't you give a prediction and I missed it? And I forgot to read it. Where is it? Good morning, club community. Real quick. Sterling will choke this guy O'Malley out. I disagree, and I'm sorry that you're gonna be wrong this week. And much love, Steve. Peace. Sean O.